Hello, welcome to Get in Step with Nicole. I am your host, Nicole Horston, and today I could not contain my excitement because I have Ruchelle Pride, who is a life coach and community leader. And today's theme is restoration is available to us all. We have so many things in life that tosses us to and fro. We have our own personal stories where we go through pain, areas of uncertainty. And Rochelle is going to help us to work through some of those things. To set the tone for the show, God gave me an acronym for the word restoration. And if you have a pen, pencil, piece of paper, I'm going to give it to you. And I'll give it to you again at the end. But restoration is realizing that every situation that you go through, test, that's the T, opposition, any of those things, even our relationship, avails, that's the A, transformation, there's areas for us to transform, improvement, and most importantly, newness. So again, I'll give those to you at the end. But that is what was given to me actually, right before the show, Rochelle.
Yes.
So I welcome you once again to the show. Go ahead and tell the audience who you are and what you do, because I love how you put that. And anytime you speak, I love who you are and what you do.
Thank you so much, Nicole. And I'm so glad to be here. I'm thankful for you. I'm thankful for what I consider a blessed opportunity to be a blessing. Um, I am a life coach by day and by night. That's what I do. I believe in pouring into people, and I believe in allowing yourself to be filled so you can pour.
Yes.
And so as we talk today about restoration, it's so many that you put on there that I just can't wait to get to as far as what that really, the weeds of what it means.
Yes,
Um,
yes.
But that's what I try to do every day is change my interactions with people from transactional to transformational. Many times we do things in exchange. You do this for me, I do this for you. But the reality of how we engage people, putting that humility back in humanity, is truly by being transformational, knowing that every person we see, every person we touch, that is a living, beating heart that belongs to God. And we have to sow, we have to steward. I'm also a community leader. In the Columbus, Ohio area, my space is related to justice, in the administration of justice, day to day. So as it relates to the community and the leadership in that aspect, I also serve on a nonprofit to ensure that we are paying attention to those who need us the most, the underserved populations, those that don't have the same equitable access to resources that all of us should have access to. And so that's what I do every day in a nutshell, and I truly believe that it's about an assignment that I have. It's not a job, it's not a career choice, it is an assignment. It is what I've been purposed and positioned to do, and every day I wake up, I say, thank you, Jesus.
I'm telling you, when we became fast friends, you attended one of my
Yes.
Soaring with Hope and
Yes.
Healing conferences
Yes.
in Mansfield, Ohio.
Yes.
And I tell you, I have loved you from that first moment when I said,
love
do you
you.
mind catching that video for me?
Yes, I remember.
Oh my gosh.
I remember.
And
I
I have
remember.
fallen in love with you, your spirit. You are truly a woman of God.
Yes.
And your actions, most importantly, your actions
Yes.
speak for you.
Yes.
And you're a very, person. I wouldn't have had anyone to even touch this subject of restoration because I know you've been through the personal,
Yes. Yes.
working through the spiritual,
Yes.
so that it shows outwardly. And that's the just the whole thing. We're trying to work on the inner man,
Yes.
that physical part of us,
Yeah.
so that our spirit can prosper, our souls can prosper. So I'll get just right into it. So you wanted to tap on some of the things in the acronym restoration. So I'm going to give you just free reign, and I'll jump in every
Yes.
now and again just to ask just a couple of questions. But I want
Yes.
this to flow as natural as possible because
Absolutely.
the show is all about resources for our viewing audiences to give them help,
Yes.
provide resources for help,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
give them hope that
Yes.
tomorrow will be better, today is
Yes.
even greater,
Yeah.
and then support them in their healing.
Yes.
And so we'll just go ahead and get started.
Yes.
Start wherever you like.
So I will start with first about being transparent. Transparency is how we are in vulnerability is how we're able to get to a place where we can really allow others to see us and us to see them through a real authentic lens. And so one of the things that when I look at the acronym that came to you as it relates to restoration, realize that realization is deep
Yes.
because we all know what we hear all the time that, the definition of insanity, doing the same things over and over, expecting a different result.
Yes.
If you don't realize that you're in a space where restoration is necessary, where you need to really intercede for yourself and understand that it's some things that aren't right that I got to make right.
Yes.
And so that realization, I call it self-actualization. I have to be able to tell me about me before I can tell you about you. And if I don't have a pulse, if I don't have a heartbeat on where I am, the realization of my world, my space, my orbit, those that are around me, the things that are a part of me, the things that unfortunately due to life that has become embedded in my DNA,
Yes.
if I don't understand what that does to me and how I show up in places and spaces, it has the ability to disrupt every move I make.
Yes.
So I walk around dysregulated. I walk around in a fog because I have not realized where I am and what I need. And so that realization, it's like you got to first know that it's a thing. You got to know that it's even there. And in that, I also think about the idea of, my own experiences, both lived and practical experiences. Again, God has been able to make sure that I steward in the sanctuary, in the church. But he's also taken me out into the marketplace where I can be that vessel. I can be that conduit because I realize that I may be the only Bible someone ever reads. So my actions,
Yes.
how I
Yes.
show up, and it's really looking at it from the relational aspect. The relationships that I build, the relationships I cultivate have to be a reflection of the kingdom. It has to be a reflection of God and how it is that he wants us to show up and simply how we treat people. Like Nicole, we forgot how to treat people. I don't know that we've ever
Ooh.
known, but we don't even know how to treat people,
Yes.
let
Yes.
alone be able to treat ourselves and build relationship in that same vein. From some of the experience that I've been through, from adoption to molestation to rape to domestic violence, all of those things have been a part of the test. But the test quickly became my testimony. Once I realized and got into a place of self-actualization where I knew that these were things that were beating on your body doesn't forget
Yes.
what it is that you go through. Like we push through life and we just go and we're like, yeah, I'm good, dust it off. I'm gonna be fine. But you're not okay.
Not okay.
And that right there is for me something that we have to be okay with acknowledging, even before the realization, I'm not okay. And that was something that I struggled with greatly, was diagnosed with severe depression and postpartum, from the birth of my children.
Yes.
And I have two beautiful boys. Two of them.
Yes, very
the
active young
yes,
man.
the
Yes.
princes of my palace. But with each childbirth, it got worse for me, and so I had to understand that, what, this is something that I'm living with.
Yes.
It's not doing anything to me, and it's not going to control me in the sense of me being able to make it from day to day.
Yes.
But I had to realize and accept that this is a part of my makeup right now.
I want to put a pin right there. Only because the acronym is Soaring with Help, Hope, and Healing, which is
Yes.
my platform.
Yes.
The Spirit, ladies and gentlemen, confirms. It really does. It confirms things that God needs for you to hear. SOAR is self-observation, which is your self-actualization. So that's
Absolutely.
confirmation.
Yes.
Number one.
Yes.
but the R on the end part of soar is realizing and recognizing.
Yeah.
So when you said that,
Yeah.
it was
Yes.
like confirmation to my soul.
Yes.
Because we all have our stories, ladies and gentlemen. We have our
Yes.
tests. And that's why I was telling you, every situation, test, opposition, even our relationships. The other part to that was the marketplace. Do you know I received prophecy in 2017 about God would make room for me in the marketplace?
Yes. Yes.
It was confirmed again on Sunday in a conversation. And this is what I'm telling you, God
Wow.
will confirm.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, his promises, he said he would do it. So we're working on his resume.
Yeah.
An extensive, just hearing your story,
Yeah.
I hear an extensive resume of what God has brought you through, what he's brought you out of, and what he's continually doing in your life.
Yes.
So that was, and then you said it today, right here, right
Yeah.
now. The marketplace. God will put you in places
Yes.
that, did you have any idea that you would be doing this? I know you went to school and you're focused, but how did this all come to be?
How it all came to pass for me was I had at a very, very young age a heart for people. I didn't understand, and my mother was such a good steward. You know, she's my shero.
Yes.
And she did such a good job of trying to sometimes reel me back in because I just wanted to love on everybody. I didn't understand why people were mean. I didn't understand why people did bad things. I'm like, Mom, what's wrong? Like, I needed to understand the why.
Yes.
And I've always had that passion for people. But what I had as a passion, God turned into my purpose. And I was so thankful for that shift in the atmosphere that I then became aware of and that I accepted. Because there's a level of acceptance, there's a level of preparation for what we expect from God. I hadn't even expected that. So I said, okay, God, this is good. And I realized that a lot of the things that God put in me,
Yes.
the things that he gives us as people to pour in and to give, we have to understand that it has more to do with what he needs in the earth than it has to do with us.
Yes.
There are things that God gives to his people that we need to put into the earth because that's what he needs. Somebody needs to hear it. Somebody needs to see it. Somebody needs to feel it. Somebody needs to sense it. There are times where even the ability to sense a spirit, another spirit in the room.
Another spirit.
You just know. You know what I mean? And I just thank God for that because he keeps us in community that way. But he doesn't shield us from being able to expand that community.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And so for me, I think that was I started to really, there's days I'm still in shock. There's days I'm still like blown away by what God has just done for me. You know, what the grace that he's bestowed upon me, the favor, the mercy, the fortitude. Like there's so many things. I can't even hit the tip of the iceberg of just some days I'm just left in awe. And I even like, Lord, you know, you love me so much.
Yes.
And it's like, you know, it's gotten to the point where the relationship I have with God, because for me, it's very much about the relationship and not the religion.
Ladies and gentlemen, didn't I tell you she was going to blow your mind? Just the power that worketh with inside of Sister Ruchelle. It exudes God's favor, his mercy. And that's why I told you restoration, she was the best one to tap into the subject matter. Because see, a lot of times when we make mistakes, we feel like it's all one and done. Like, okay, God, you know, he doesn't love me. You know, I made this big mistake. Maybe you brought shame on your family or reproach on, you know, your ministry at church. And then you feel like it's all one and done. Like, okay, I made this big mistake.
Yes.
Will God forgive me? Ruchelle is evidence. I am evidence. You, the viewing audience, is evidence that God is a restorer of not only our souls, our spirits, but our physical man. Because see, he knew you would walk this journey as you're walking it. I would walk my journey as I'm walking it. And ladies and gentlemen, you are walking a journey. And I told you, realize, I keep putting that in there because it's confirmation. And someone today needs to hear this, because see, the flow is different right now. Hallelujah.
Amen.
The shift that you're talking
Amen.
about, I've
Yes.
had my shift.
Yes.
You've
Yes.
had a shift.
Absolutely.
And I'm telling you, when that shift took place, it, for me, and
Yeah.
you can say how it was for you, but it opened a whole new world, because I said,
Yeah.
God, you are blowing my mind, because see, this is what I thought my lot would be
Yes.
because of the mistake.
Yes.
But God
Yes.
said, no, ma'am, no, sir.
Yes.
This is where I want you
Yes.
to be. So regardless of the
Yeah.
situation that you thought was going to be the end of it all, regardless of the test that
Yes.
you're going through right now, yes, I'm keep putting that restoration acronym so it can get into your spirit. So regardless of your story, your test, even the relationship, you may have, been in a relationship that you thought that this was the greatest thing since sliced bread.
Listen.
And it turned out, like you said, to be one that was maybe abusive,
Yes.
or maybe one that, just made you, just browbeat you down.
Yeah.
And you lost that self-esteem, that confidence.
Yes.
But God is a restorer.
A restorer.
And he's a God, I'm telling you, the God of the second chance. It
Yes.
always resonates in my mind, because he's a God of a second chance, a third chance.
That's it.
However many
That's
amount
it.
of chances it
Yes.
takes, Rochelle,
Yes.
to get his children back on course.
Yes, to get aligned. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Let's
And
talk about that
is
alignment.
good.
Oh, I'm telling you, you are my
Listen.
person, sister. Do you hear me? You are my person, because you flow in the spirit, and you have that
Yes.
spirit of discernment.
Clear.
And that's what I love
Yes.
about you. It's
Yeah.
very clear and it's very accurate.
Yes.
Go ahead
Yes.
and just speak to what the Spirit has been giving you for the
Yes.
people who needs to hear that restoration
Yes.
is available to us all.
Absolutely. There are some, ministries. My home church, Providence Baptist Church, Mansfield, Ohio.
Yes, Pastor Cobb.
Love, yes,
Yes,
Pastor
yes,
Cobb, First
yes.
Lady Cobb. And I've been in that church since I was old enough to remember. That is my home. And there's other ministries that I also, through that discernment, take in, and I take those different nuggets and perspectives of God and what He wants from His people.
Yes.
And there was a pastor that I listened to that he very eloquently laid out, when you talk about thinking that it's a means to an end, that when the things that you go through, that this is it, I've messed up one too many times.
Yes.
God's grace is sufficient, but it done ran out on me. So
I like that.
ain't no,
I like that.
what I'm gonna do, because he ain't, I done messed up. And we literally, we shrink God down as if
Yes.
He is a person who thinks the way we think, believes the way we believe,
Yes.
forgives the way we forgive, hates
Watch
the
out
way
now.
we hate, be angry the way that we're angry. God is above. He is omnipotent. He is above all of those things. And we
Yes.
scale him down, because there's times that we even try to control God in how we see and view him, and not realizing
Love
that
it.
when you're down to your wits' end, I know God got me to a point where it wasn't nowhere for me to look but up.
But up.
I had got so far down into
Woo.
the trenches of what I was dealing with. And I
Yes.
think I shared this when we did SOAR. I said, if you're not careful, the place where a casket sits and a seed sits looks the same.
Say that
If-
again.
and it's all-
Let's just slow that down. I
Yes.
didn't mean to interrupt you.
No,
but let's
that's
just
good.
slow that
We
down.
need to slow that
because
down. Yeah, we
that,
do.
I tell you, I
That's
wrote
it.
that down when you
Yes.
said it at the conference.
Yes.
I did.
It's all based on your perspective.
Say that
If
again.
you look at it, a casket sits in the same soil, in the same darkness, in the same cold that a seed sits in.
Hallelujah.
And based on your perspective, am I dead? Am I done? Or is this about to be a growth that I ain't even ready to see sprout?
Look at that.
It's based on your perspective.
Woo.
And this same pastor talked about
Hallelujah.
how it becomes this rapid acceleration of growth that we experience based on our perspective, based on the realization, the actualization that we need to bring into that. But that
Yes.
seed has everything going for it in the dark. Because God does His best work in the dark.
In the dark.
You remember when we used to develop pictures, you had to take it to the,
In the
dark
dark
room,
room.
okay?
Yes,
Because
yes.
it wasn't ready.
Make it plain.
It
Rochelle.
wasn't ready.
Hallelujah.
You had to bring that had to go back here, okay? It had to go up underneath there before it could be out here. So God does His greatest development. He does His greatest work. He sows His deepest seeds in the dark. And so appreciating those dark places are hard when you're in it.
Ooh.
But I started to look at it based on perspective, that every time I hit a dark moment, every time something happens that I know is the enemy,
Yes.
I'm like, ooh.
That's that
I get
opposition.
excited. I'm like,
That's
oh,
that
something's
opposition.
about to happen. Like, it's about to,
Yes.
because, you know, the enemy trying to go toe to toe with me. And as we know, the enemy comes to kill, steal, and destroy. That's
Yes.
not three different ways of saying the same thing.
No,
That's three different
attacks.
things that
Yes.
the enemy comes to do. It may not have killed you, but it stole your joy. It may not have destroyed
Hallelujah.
you, okay, but
Yes.
you lost your voice. So it's those intricate things that the enemy will come to do where you think that you go toe to toe. You cannot acknowledge one without the other.
Wow,
the enemy
my
is
God.
dangerous. He's a mastermind at what he
A
does,
manipulator,
and a manipulator.
yes.
So if you're not aware of the enemy's devices, you know, you set yourself up to be, you know, honestly, you set yourself up to be in a place of sabotage by him.
Oh, yeah.
On a reoccurring basis,
Oh,
because
yeah.
he remembers those cycles better than you do.
And
so
listen,
he knows
that footprint.
He knows the footprint. He knows
your
what
footprint.
to get. Yes, he does.
Because see, he knew what stopped
Yes.
you
Yes.
when you were a teenager.
Yes.
He put a pin in that one. He knew
Yes.
what happened to you in
Yes.
that relationship
Yes,
that
he
you didn't
did.
tell your parents about.
Yes.
That was an abusive relationship because you was a teenager. I'm talking to somebody right now.
Come on.
And it held on to your joy, your
Jesus.
confidence. Well, because I remember someone said to me that things aren't healed will show up. It'll resurface again and
Absolutely.
again and again. That's
Over
why
and over.
the SOAR part of it is supporting you in your healing, because
Yes.
every phase that
Yes.
we go through in life,
Yes.
we need that spiritual intercessor.
Yes.
We need that
Yes.
hope
Yes.
for the healing.
Yeah.
But if it's not healed, it resurfaces. And I'm so glad, like I
Yes.
told you, God gave me that acronym for restoration on the drive here. So I didn't have
Yes.
time to even, I had to
Yeah.
write it down quickly because it
That's
was
how you do,
coming.
don't it? That's how you do.
Yes, 'cause
Yeah.
I brought back to
Yes.
remembrance our
Yes.
conversation.
Yes.
And we, you know, we
Yes.
always witness to one another. And that's what you
Yes.
need, just a prayer partner. Someone who will go to war for you when you are going through a
Yes.
situation, when you're seeking God for help.
Yes.
I told you that in another program on the show, that you need those people in your life. And Ruchelle is my person. And now she's your person. I'm telling you,
Absolutely.
we're going to have to do a part 2 of this because we're
Yes.
just now down
Yes.
to availing. You know,
Yes.
the
Yes,
word
yes, yes.
avail, I looked it
Yes.
up. It says helps and benefit. You know, it
Yeah.
availeth
Yeah.
much. And so in the acronym restoration, the A part of that is avails. Now we're doing that transformation, we're doing that switch
Yes.
that Ruchelle talked about.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about the transformation, which, you know, you've already said us really pretty good
Yeah.
on how God has
Yes.
transformed even when you felt unworthy of it.
Yes.
You know, it's like
So
all
unworthy.
to him I owe.
Yes.
For everything
Yes.
he's brought me through,
Yes.
everything that he's turned around, everything that he didn't give me that I thought I wanted.
Yes.
And even when he did give it to me and I found out it wasn't what I wanted, God still soothed
Yes.
the bumpy road.
That's it.
Oh, girl,
That's
we're
it.
going to do a part 2.
Yes, we can. Hey, you know I'm here for you and
Oh,
for
my
it.
goodness.
And that's it. That's it. It's that wholeness of restoration. And so how God deals with us as a whole person.
Yes.
Mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically. That is how we must show up for each other. We have to love each other the way God loved the church, the way that
Yes.
he pours
Hallelujah.
into us, undeserving.
Yes.
We have to be able to give that back.
I
we have
wrote
to be able to give that back.
a prayer after you and I talked. Spirit was just running through me after our conversation, and we were preparing for today's show.
Yeah.
Because I always tell our guests, and if you want to be a guest, this is what I'm going to tell you too. I don't dictate how the Spirit moves.
No, you don't.
I tell you to consecrate yourself.
Yes, you do.
Seek God for yourself. And what you speak, it will be what the audience needs. Because, see,
Yes.
God knows what we needed before we do.
Yes.
And so after our conversation, I wrote this prayer. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm just going to read it like I wrote it. Father, during those times when we feel unworthy, please restore our thoughts. Even when our reflection in the mirror doesn't look like the man or woman we are striving
Yeah.
Because it's a daily strive.
Come on.
We are striving to be. Remind us, Father, that we are made in your image and in your likeness. Therefore, allow us to see ourselves. And girl, you confirmed this today through your lens.
Yes.
See, didn't I tell you confirmation?
Come on.
Everything you said,
Come
God
on.
confirmed in his prayer, and you didn't even know about this prayer until just now.
Yes.
So through your lens of
Wow.
favor, grace, and mercy, regardless of our condition,
Yes.
and despite our situations, speak to each listening ear and fill us with your love that flows through our being, no matter what we're going through on this side of the journey.
Yes.
Help us, Father, to stand still
Yes.
until you come. Ladies and gentlemen, I first of all want to thank Sister Ruchelle Pride,
Yes, thank you.
life coach and advocate. Tell them how to get in contact with you beyond the show today.
Yes, so I can be reached via email at coachingpride@outlook.com. That again, that's coachingpride.
Pride.
Pride. P as in Paul, R as in Robert, I, D as in David, E as in Edward, at outlook.com. Love to hear from all of you.
Yes.
And again, thank you. Thank you.
Oh my gosh.
And I just want to say, I would be remiss not to say this, with what's going on in the world around us, God needs us to be true stewards of people and true servant leaders. We lost 19 children today in Texas.
Yes,
we lost
did.
10 more people in Buffalo, New York a couple weeks ago. Please, the
Yes.
world needs us.
Yes.
And so I just send condolences to the families
Absolutely.
of
Thank you
those
for bringing
lost.
that up.
Yes. And just let's love each other. Let's love each other.
That's a great way
Yes.
to end a great show. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for tuning in. Remember, it is always a great time to get in step and soar. And restoration is available to us all. You can reach me at www.get, the letter N, and the word step at outlook.com, or my website with the same name, GetNstep.com. Thank you very much for tuning in. Bye for now. Before you go, I pray that you enjoyed today's show. Again, restoration is realizing that every situation, test, opposition, or even our relationships avails, mean it helps, it benefits transformation, improvement, and newness. Think of those things this week, and we'll see you next week. Continue to get in step, because no matter the time of day, it is always a great time to get in step and soar.